Okay, hopefully I can line this audio up. Anyway, so, as you can see, I don't know if this audio is lining up or not, but I'm actually showing more of the reference thing, because I did not get to show off the reference all that much in the previous video. Well, previous video in a style like this. I decided to go for more of a cutlass type design for the sword. Honestly, mostly just because I could not. I've tried like 3 or 4 different styles for this and none of them work. So I went for like a cutlass style of a base, I guess. And then, so I added on, a bit of extra to like the, very tip of the blade to make it kind of look like an axe, because I saw like a sword someone had done, they made a wooden sword that kind of had that style. I thought it looked really cool and interesting, so I tried to see how that would look, and I think it turned out kind of decent. But you can see, like, I went through 4 or 5 references, but I really didn't use like the more interesting ones. So I guess, like, I of course use this one you're seeing now for like the main shape of the body, because it was kind of the clearest and I like the proportion of it. And then I, did a different weapon slightly for the handle. Well, not with the handle, more of like the gold. It has a specific name, but I do not remember it, and I feel I don't want to look it up right now. But as you can see here, I'm actually giving it like a full hand gold on one side. Almost kind of like, I don't want to say the actual name of the sword, because I don't know. I don't want to say it incorrectly, and if I do, then YouTube will probably get mad. Think of kind of just stereotypical French sword, like the one that's basically just giant needle, kind of. So that kind of style of gold-ish, I think, if I'm remembering right, where it goes all the way over the main, like, knuckle part of the clip. And you can see here I kind of went to add, like, kind of flame spikes to the gold, because I thought that would give the design some interest. And also, this blade's supposed to belong to a character that is associated with fire, so thought that would make sense that their sword is somewhat fire themed too. As you can kind of see, I somewhat gave up on trying to do all the flames by hand because it was not working out. So I switched to line tool to help a bit of the shaping. See, I flipped the image back around. Also, hopefully this video turns out half decent. I'm kind of recording the voiceover in a different way than I did in previous videos, so hopefully it turns out good. If it don't, then I'm probably not gonna do it like this again. And if it does, I don't know. But anyway, you can see here I'm, you know, kind of changing things up more from the reference, not by much, but I added more onto the pummel, I believe is what you would call that bit. I'm not too familiar with, you know, terms for blades, as I used to be, but now I've forgotten a bunch of it. You can see, well, I've added kind of like a little spike to the end. Again, somewhat flame-shaped, not as much as I would want it to be, probably, but I don't know, figured that was still something possible to be on there. Then you can see I wasn't quite happy with the handle being flush to like the end caps and that, so I kind of moved it inward more. And then here you can see, here you can see I'm going through a bunch of different little designs for the, I guess it's technically call it the gold. I don't really know what else you would call it. See, I just keep going through a bunch of different designs, trying to incorporate like triangles and diamonds, and I just couldn't find the way to make it look all that well. It didn't make it look dumb. And here you can see I'm like trying to do something like a fancy diamond shape, but it's also not quite working, and I couldn't figure out a way to hand do it evenly, especially with the weird angle I made the blade aid at. So you can see I just gave up on it and just put like a little border piece instead. And then you can see I'm trying to figure out a way of adding some intrigue to the handle. So I settled on these like kind of oversized pins, I guess. But I figured I could do something. You can see I'm trying to like, you know, make it kind of like weaved or something, but I couldn't think of a way to make it make sense. So I gave up on it for now and then completely forgot to come back to do it. But you can see I'm going back through and redoing the edge of the blade in some areas. See, well, I didn't quite like the way it was fading into each other, so I went back through and redid it. And then, so I'm trying to figure out something to do with it to give it interest. I decided, oh wait, okay, never mind. I thought it was a different point, okay. But yeah, you can see I wanted to incorporate like a gem into it, but it didn't really make sense to have it in the middle of the blade, so I just kind of attached it into the handguard. But see, I changed my mind about the way it was doing. I also switched it to the handles rail because I figured that would make a bit more freaking sense. See, I'm trying to figure out a good position to like embed it into the handguard, and then I made the gem smaller than I thought I would, so I went back through. Then you can see I decided to add a third like plates. I honestly do not know right now what those are, but it gives it more interest in the design. And see, I also went back through and slightly adjusted that little bit there, but honestly I don't think you can really tell. Then what? Oh, never mind. Okay, right. Here we are in the coloring step. So you can see I put a line that looks like it's going straight through the handguard and that, but that's on the blade rail, so it's easier to color it. Now, this probably took me half an hour because I could not for the life of me figure out what color looked right for the blade. I knew I kind of wanted like a boned black handle, but I didn't want it to be solid black. Even though, really it could have been, being as my line art is kind of like crimson instead of your typical black. But, I don't know. I just thought it looked weird. So I made it kind of, the color I did. And then here you can see I am just constantly changing the blade color until I eventually settle on one and then change it again. Yeah. So, let's see what color I actually do settle on. I probably could have cut out a lot of this color shifting. Oh, okay, whoops, sorry. Anyway, you can see I finally settled on a color, and then I just, doing the edges now. Where you can see I whitened them up for the most part, and then went back in with a darker thing, I guess trying to show like a shadow. And then you can see I'm kind of highlighting that edge. And then, see, I tried adding some other highlights into the metal, but I don't know. I both couldn't find a color that worked too well, or really find a way to make it look, in a way that made sense. So I ultimately ended up just ditching that idea. But anyway, now back to actually coloring the west. I decided to kind of not compromise, complement the kind of, I guess, silver of the blade. I decided to go for like a bronze gold kind of for the handle and the rest of it. So I thought that would look good with the dark handle. But I also didn't really want, I don't know, I thought it would add on to the look. See, I did the same, trying to highlight the handle a little bit. I probably should have, I'm kind of like going through and shading the handle, which on hindsight I probably should have done to the blade a lot more, but it's way too late to add that, and I do not feel like adding that on to every single version of this I made. Anyway, so you can see I'm just, doing highlighting and shadows. So, yeah. You can see I wasn't quite happy with how you could see it, so I decided to bump it up more. And then you can see I'm going through and trying to find a color for the gem I added. And I settled on yellow because I guess orange didn't look right. Then, adding kind of a highlight in the middle of it to make it kind of look like it's glowing. Now I'm thinking about I probably should have included that on the glow wheel though. I did later, so oops. My bad. But anyway, here you can see I'm kind of doing I guess engraving on the actual blade to give it some interest, I guess, instead of just being hunk of metal. And I'm wondering, how heavy would this thing actually be? And I'm not gonna worry about it, even though I probably should, but oh well. You can see I kind of changed my mind on how I wanted it to be, instead of it just kind of outlining the whole blade. I decided to glitch the connection there, and then just link it straight down into the gem. Or at least, you know, make it look like it's linked into the gem. I'm not sure. The gem's, yeah, whatever. Then you can see I'm going back through and just kind of cleaning the line up a little bit. And then going back to that edge. Sorry, for some reason. And I still thought it looked empty, so I was gonna do these, like, bridge connections. But then I kind of couldn't think of a way to, you know, add to the middle without it looking kind of funny. So I just gave up with it and decided to add, like, a kind of darker thing to try to make it look etched. But I don't quite remember how I did this before, like, probably about a year ago at this point. And it looked really good. But I do not, for the life of me, remember how I did it. Oh, I did, like, an engraving in the piece. And it looked really good, but I do not, for the life of me, know how the hell I did that. So, you can see I'm just kind of going around it. I'm pretty sure I cleaned it up afterwards, but you can see I tried going back through that way. But it looked a bit odd. So, I do not know why I'm zooming in all over the place. Anyway, you can see I is going back through to shade the handle. For some reason, I still have not colored in the flames, and I do not know why. I feel I mostly colored this in the middle of the freaking night. And here you can see, I was gonna go shade the fire bits, but then I noticed I never put them in. into color, so you can see I'm going right through and cleaning up the marks from the paint bucket where it didn't really do its freaking job. But anyway, I just thought of a way I could have made this handle look a lot better. Oh well. Live and learn, because it's way too freaking late to change it now. You will see why it's too late to do any of this just in a little bit. But you can see I decided to shade. Okay, a bit like this, but anyway. So you can see here I'm going back through and highlighting hold of the flame. But yeah. See, I decided to change the color of the little highlight thing down there because I didn't think it looked right, and I then went back over it and got rid of the line residue. Well, I don't know what you really call it, but because the way I described sounds kind of close. And see, I decided to, you know, kind of do more of the highlights. I don't know. You know, it kind of looks like they've been sharpened. Which makes sense, given what they could actually be used for. Let's see, I just expanded the image, because I remember there are multiple versions of this sword, and I kind of didn't really want to separate them out into individual image files. So I just kind of lazily decided to swap them all in together. Because I figured in the long term that would be quicker. And I need to reference each version of the blade. But honestly, this probably is definitely not the final version. These are probably not the final versions. I'm probably going to go back through and edit them and give each version its own bit of intrigue. Okay, sorry, cat's running over, but you can see I did like a one with the glow happening, kind of like it's been powered up. Then here's the fun thing. I get to okay, time to decide not to work. I get to completely destroy it now. So you can see I'm going back through and kind of just whipping it apart. Pretty sure actually, yeah, the first time you would actually see this and the thing I'm working on, it is in pieces and shattered, so yeah. See, I'm okay. Apparently, the recording of the editing is like one of the two is kind of a bit chunky there, so like that's okay. You can see I didn't really like how small it was, so I decided to put a bigger hole in it. And then see here, I'm kind of just breaking off the tip. I probably could have done this in a better way because this means any artwork is gonna look a bit funny. But, you can see that one I didn't even bother to keep wound, I just cut it out. Because it would like, it's a little bit weird that all of the pieces are still around, and some of them haven't just gotten, you know, damaged and lost in battle. So it is a little bit funny how the sword is pristine, and then even when it gets destroyed, all of it's still there. So I just did that. Now here's something that, thinking about it afterwards, this is incredibly dumb. So, instead of like, you know, drawing in the cracks and everything first and then breaking them off, I broke everything off and now I have to put it all back together. I do not know why I did it like this. There's almost definitely a way better way I could have done this, but for whatever reason I decided to just break it and then repair it instead of starting it off in, you know, amended state and then breaking it from there. Meaning you get this weird kind of thing that doesn't quite, I don't know, this took like an hour of me trying to wind it up, and after like breaking it in neat ways and then going back and repairing it for some reason. But yeah, anyway, enjoy me putting it all back together. Yay. admittedly, some of the patchwork I did looks kinda weird and dumb in hindsight, but this is not the final version of this. Actually, most of my videos, any stuff that I end up using from the videos, not basically nothing I do is in its final form yet. Likely, if it's making it into a video. See, I finally finished up the patchwork, but I zoom out and I realize it's kind of hard to see where it's been repaired. So I kind of am going back through and kind of making the lines a bit more prominent, I guess, or thicker. Honestly, I don't know. I don't know how to feel about the repair job I did. Again, I probably could have done this 1,000 times better, but I don't know, this is what I could think of at the time. So, yeah. And you can see I finished up the repair job for now, and then I'm trying to shove it over with the rest. I don't know, I was originally gonna try and do it like, you know, I had branches coming off this, away from the sword, and then, you know, have like name of the version and, you know, information about why this happened or whatever. I didn't end up doing that fully, sorry. But, you know, I ended up resizing it to where it bit clearer, and if you notice, unlike with the lens design video, I've made the image like twice as big as I would normally do. So, you know, I zoom in and it's not totally pixelated. See, I wasn't quite sure on, I for some reason cannot fucking spell anything, even if I tried, but so sorry about that. So I keep going. I don't know if any of these words even been spelled correctly. Likely not. But see, I save it, and then I immediately realize, shoot, I forgot the like binding milk again. That image I probably just whipped that from before I had what I actually named it, but I'm too lazy to look at to remember it. And see, I'm trying to, you know, add it in. I did actually forget to change one thing about it. The, like, little blood thing that goes into the binding ink, that should actually be a different color because of whose this is, but, like, the blood should be a slightly different color, but, oh well. And, well, here you see the different versions